welcome to Who the F is Frank right here on GoLiveVegas, of course, on the One of Us Comics YouTube channel and Spotify, as well as wherever you get your content. Follow GoLiveVegas on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and more. Make sure you guys do that. And we are getting kicked off today. Going to be a fun episode, guys. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. Today, to my left, freshly back from a trip to Mexico, Mr. Johnny Jimenez of the Toy Shack and One of Us Comics, also the original toy expert on history's Pawn Stars.
What's up? What's up?
Out there in Bakersfield, California, senior editor for ComicCon.com, Brendan Allen is with us as well. And I think he's still somewhere in the middle of the country. I'm not sure where. It is where in the world is Paul Vato? And Paul Vato, comedian extraordinaire, pitchman. If you need something hyped, this guy could do it for you. Mr. Paul Vato joins us as well. Guys, we're coming off a Father's Day weekend.
Good to be here.
Yeah, we're coming off a Father's Day weekend, and it was a time to really kind of like reflect back. I think it's a good humbling time that even if your kids or are older or whatever it might be, however it is, they're still your kids, and to spend a weekend with your kids, I'm sure everyone got some time with that. And I should mention too, Aaron, the producer, is here as well, and his family and got to celebrate Father's Day as well yesterday. But what did you celebrate Father's Day with, Johnny? What did you get into?
So we went to Alebrijes. We went with the crew. I brought the Toy Shack crew with us. We went and my daughters and close friends, and we had a good time. And it was just super relaxing. Me, I'm more chill. So just to enjoy them, see them happy, I'm happy. So that was it was a great day. And then got to talk to my dad on a video call and the family, and I didn't do much else. I just kind of unplugged from the world and enjoyed the moment.
No, and that's what you should do on a day like that. Take the time to enjoy your family. Look, at the end of the day, the only currency we really own is time, right? So to be able to spend time with those that are close to you and the people that matter, I think is important. Brendan, how did you celebrate Father's Day? What did you get into?
You know what? I same thing as I stayed home. I didn't, we watched some movies, we ate some food. My kids made me some cards, but I appreciate what you just said right there, is because really they want your time, not your dime. And that's really important, just to be able to spend that time. So we had a good time just hanging out together and just kind of being home and not doing a bunch of external stuff. So it was good times.
No, absolutely. And again, I think that's important. And you're right. Like, the kids really do want time with you, especially if you have younger children. I have a younger child, and I know, Johnny, you do as well. Brendan does. And, it's very important to get the time with them. Paul, how did you spend Father's Day?
With my mom.
That's okay.
The hospital.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Oops.
But I've always included her in Father's Day only because I did have a father growing up, but the man worked 2 8-hour jobs for about the first, from when I was maybe 2, from when my brother was born to when I was a couple years old, a year and a half old, till the time I was maybe 10 or 11. We didn't really grow up with a father because he worked 2 8-hour jobs. And there's a whole story to that. And, he always said, "Mijo, my son, I worked very hard my whole life, so you don't have to." And I said, "Okay, that sounds great." So really, my mom is the one, that raised us and taught us how to ride bikes and do all that. But not because my dad wasn't around. It's because, well, he wasn't around, but he was working. And of course, when you work 2 8-hour jobs for 12 years, I think,
Pretty much, you sleep when you get home.
Well, you do, but then he was, able to buy properties, and then he'd have to work on those properties and mow our lawn and do all that. So he had a lot of work over the weekend. So yeah, we really didn't grow up with a dad, but he was our father. He unfortunately, he passed away maybe 15 years ago now. But I wish everyone who has kids a very happy Father's Day, like my brother Joe Rodriguez, who has a wonderful son, my nephew. I can't remember his name, but a great kid. No, I'm kidding. It's Alexander.
Of course, he can't remember his name.
So
Because the kid hasn't asked him to pitch anything for him yet. So once the kid asks him to pitch something, he'll remember his name, no problem. Well, Paul,
Please go to
yeah,
Alexander's website and buy whatever it is he's selling. Thank you.
well, and speaking of, real quick, easy day for me. It was a lot of fun. So actually this weekend I took Brody to the Spy Ninja headquarters and took him axe throwing.
Yeah.
He had a lot of fun with that. And I have to be honest with you. And at one point I did try, I'm going to be honest with you. The kid whipped my butt the entire time. Like it's like throwing darts, and
Axe throwing.
playing for points.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he owned me a little bit. And I think I won 2 games in the hour that we, played and had a good time. And then we went to my mom's. So I share that with you, Paul, and spent some time with my mom. My dad passed in 2020. So I spent some time with my mom, and she did a little thing for me and him. And then he slept all day yesterday because he was up all night playing video games, which was okay.
Video games, yes.
But
Nice.
But I will say, I got up early and he came in before he went to sleep and he's like, hey, let's go get breakfast for you. And so we went to breakfast and then we came back and then he slept most of the day away, which was fine. And it was, a pretty chill day overall. We had a good time, spent a lot of time together with him and he and I had good bonding time. And then, exactly what Brendan was saying, I thought, really hit it on the head that, to my child, it's not about what you get him. It's not about the tangible things. It's not about that stuff. It's about time invested with him and spending that time. So it was nice to be able to do that. And, the world that we're in, it's nice to have that ability that, sometimes I travel and I take my son with me and sometimes he goes to events. And that's what we did at the end of the day yesterday is we went to the Las Vegas card show and went around for a little bit and it was a fun moment, but he goes, hey, Dad, can we do get something for my girlfriend? And I'm like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah. He's like, they got a Labubu over there. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, can I get a Labubu for my girlfriend? And I'm like, yeah. Like, it's hard for me to say no there, right? When he's like trying to do something for some girl that he's interested in. And I go, okay, we'll get her a Labubu. And then it became, can I get one too? So, of course, he ended up with 2.
Well, they got to have a matching set. That's how romance works, right?
Is that how it works?
Yeah. So we got a little opening video of that, and then we spent a little time at the show there, and then spent the rest of the night at home and had a good time. Paul, you were gonna say you were gonna fill in something there?
Yeah. I was gonna ask about his girlfriend. Well, that already sounds weird. I'm sorry. Did you know that he has a girlfriend? Do you know this?
Oh yeah, did he bring it on?
Yeah, so it started at the middle to end of the school year. He started talking about this girl and he started bringing her up and then it was more conversations and they were texting. And that's kind of where it started because as a parent, your kid has a cell phone, you start looking at what they're searching, what they're watching, who they're texting, like you got to pay a little attention to that, and so from time to time you're looking in and he brought it up before I had actually seen it, said he was talking to her. I'm like, that's cool. His conversations are real playful, real casual, real fun. And seems like her mom's very in the know too as well. So it's great because the 2 kids can communicate and have a good time. But there's been some, conversations or some messages that have been sent that's probably, I don't know, show a little bit more relationship and less friendship. And so you start to wonder about what level do you intervene on that and what level do you have that. And so, yeah, it's one of those conversation points that I'll have with his mother, and kind of find out where that level resides and what we think is, should be and shouldn't be. But for the most part, it's been great. Very open about it. And they have a really good conversation set whenever they're on the phone. It's not like they just sit there and they play video games together and they talk about their days and what they have going on and everything. And so from that standpoint, I think that's great. And so that was, pretty cool for me to see, at least as a dad, that he was forward thinking about someone else, not about what he could get, something for him. But
different times though. I know in my days, if I would ask my dad for a Labubu, I would have got my ass whooped. Which is saying, I'm just saying, I don't know, different times for sure.
Oh, and it's the thing that, well, those Labubus, right? And if you guys don't know what a Labubu is, you're probably under a rock at this point. They're these little monsters. They're blind boxed. They're kind of like bag tags or keychains. They get couple different sizes. They have some small ones, and then they have some that are about 6-inch in height. And they become very collectible. And there's a big deal going on for it because, they're primarily distributed at Pop Marts. Otherwise, it's Japanese sellers that are reselling in the United States.
Yeah, I heard the Pop Mart owners already top 10 richest men because of this whole situation.
It's crazy. And the story behind it's really kind of cool that the guy that created these monsters started as an art concept, and they came up with this idea that they would do this. And the Pop Mart guy all simultaneously caught this and was like, hey, let's make this a Pop Mart thing. And he was right. He gambled on himself. He hit it 100%. And so the Labubus, very collectible. They just had one of the big art pieces, kind of like we would have like those life-size scaled, Freddy Funkos or whatever it might have been. They had one of those Labubus like that, and it sold for like, I don't know, like $150,000 at auction or something.
Yeah.
And it actually sold at a smaller auction place that primarily dealt with just high-end art and still got that kind of bids. Like, it wasn't really in the right platform to really like generate sales, but it did, and it was cool. And they're interesting. And so yeah, you've got everything from the young kids all the way through older collectors. You know what it reminds me of? And Paul, this is a little outside of your recollection, but Cabbage Patch Kids.
It reminds me more of like Monchi cheese in the 80s. Like, it was kind of like that size, and that was a big deal back then to me. But yeah, they're super cute, and we probably get about 20-30 calls a day asking about those. So yeah, it's a big fad right now. Hopefully that lasts for a couple of years. It's
well, they're licensing now. So their newest thing is they licensed One Piece, right? So they've got One Piece licensed as well there. So because of that, I think whenever these things get licensing involved, you have a tendency to see that. And I saw something that Major League Baseball is getting some too.
seen that too. Yeah.
So once you have licensing on some of this stuff, you're going to be able to, do a lot more with them.
Yeah.
And so it will open up the channels where Pop Mart probably isn't the only place you'll get it. So as you can see, Aaron got us a Labubu up there on the screen. And you're right. As far as the size, I think the Monchichi reference is really good on likeness.
Yeah.
I just look at the craze of it, of like how people did with Cabbage Patch. Literally lined up on drop days. It sells out in minutes. Stores are empty and don't have them.
Yeah.
People are running around in the secondary market trying to find them. There's some 45-year-old woman out there that's like the queen of Labubu in Las Vegas, and there's probably one in Bakersfield and one in Chicago and one in, Calgary. I mean, everywhere across the world, there's Labubu something.
Yeah. Speaking of this weekend, there was another event I went to on Saturday. It was the Rad show, the Rad Vintage show at the Roll.
Oh, yeah.
So that was this weekend. That was a lot of fun. There was a lot of vendors, and they're trying to change it up now. It was mostly like a clothing vintage market, but they opened up the booths. They discounted the booths if you were non-clothing. So there was a lot of toy vendors, comic vendors, antique vendors there. So it was great. It seemed like a great turnout. A lot of the vendors that I talked to were really happy, and that's always a great show. They go to a bunch of different cities, so that was exciting to go and check that out and see everybody. And I even picked up a few things there.
Yeah, and I love stuff like that. And you're talking about shows and traveling and all this stuff too. And talking about traveling shows, I think I saw that MicroMania is going to Bakersfield again. Have you seen this, Brendan?
Yes, sir. I was so mad that I missed the first one because I had the date down wrong. I made sure to mark this one on my calendar. So MicroMania has their residency at the Nerd Bar, which is one of our sponsors, but they also have a traveling group, and they're going to be in Bakersfield at the Speakeasy Bar and Grill at 1933. Tickets start from just $23. I'm really excited for the show. That's by the time this airs, it'll be tomorrow, Wednesday, June 18th, from 6 o'clock till about 9 o'clock. So super excited to see the group out there. Haven't seen them anywhere outside of the Nerd, so it's going to be really cool to see the setup and how they work that room. But they've been to 1933 a couple of times, and I haven't been able to go, but I'm going tomorrow. So that's going to be a good time.
Well, we know how everybody here is really big fans of wrestling. And then obviously, too, when you get into micro wrestling, how much fun everyone has at those shows. I don't think we've ever attended one of those shows and not had a good time.
Yeah, it's always amazing. They always change it up. They bring new people in every time. And it's and then too, over the time that they've been here, I've got to know them, a lot of them personally, and that's been great. But yeah, if you're in Bakersfield, definitely come support the show. If you're at the Nerd Bar downtown, definitely come check them out. It's pure entertainment. It's always it's always off the charts, and the stuff that they do and the things they put themselves through. It's amazing.
I'm surprised that Paul hasn't actually become a manager, right? I thought Paul would be a manager for sure. Like, no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
It might not be too late, but I figure, Paul, this might just be a great opportunity for you to take 15 seconds to pitch why you should be a manager, and then anything else that you have.
Cut us a promo.
Yeah, of course. Of course, as I like to say, I've added up to here with little people. I'm staying here because I'm sitting down right now. But Kama Sushi Management, come on. It's we could. I've got 500 different moves here that they could perform as signature moves if you're on my stable as a manager of a stable of micro. I mean, they could all stay at my place. I've got one big bedroom. We all sleep on it. King size bed.
See, I think you just lost your chance to lock this down, Paul.
I like the way you think.
Yeah.
I think you lost your chance there. I think you had every opportunity to do it. But you didn't. You mentioned the Karma Sushi. What, you have Vato coin, right? People can pick up Vato coin from you. And then what else you got going on?
Yes. Yeah, Vato events. I'm just doing VatoEvents.com, and that is so that people can kind of see things that I'm interested in, either things that I'm producing, but mostly it's things that I'm interested in. So send me your digital flyers. I'll put it up on VatoEvents.com. But yeah, VatoCoin.com. That is, to me, that's right now what I'm really working on, because I need 500 unique coin holders in order to get it verified for Coinbase, which is the #1 exchange. And I'm about halfway there. Even if you bought $1 of Vato coin, it would be very helpful, and I would appreciate your support. And of course, you can always pick up the book, my book, The Kama Sushi, at kamasusia.com. It's over 500 sex moves that will just brighten up your life with your partner or partners. I myself, I'm in a polycule. I'm in a throuble, but maybe that's for a different show. And I also Parse rum. Make sure you drink and ask for Parse rum at all of your local tiki bars and bars, hopefully throughout the U.S. soon. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to pitch a little bit of my products. But just go to paulvato.com. From there, you can find all and everything that I'm into and involved with, and connect with me across all social media. Thank you for the time.
Well, there we go. So we definitely got that laid out there. And with the Vato events, I mean, I guess one of the events that would have been on is probably the event that Johnny just came from in Mexico, right? Johnny, tell us, you went to Mexico for, I mean, was it race war? What was it? Because I saw Fast and Furious everywhere.
Yeah, it was absolutely insane. So this is our second time going back to Querétaro, Mexico for this event, Super Garage Fest. So here we are pulling up, and it was like going to EDC. Like, I mean, look at these people. It was 3 hours to get into this event. It was absolutely chaos, and the love that we got for this event. But it was a car event. Super Garage Fest is the name of the event. These guys, people come from all over Mexico, Guadalajara, Monterrey, you name it. I mean, all the cities, all these people drove and flew. People from Yucatan, which is, I mean, it was incredible. Like, the turnout to this event, the love that we got. I mean, here, there's over 100 cars here, all tuner, JDM, a ton of like a bunch of Fast and Furious cars in here. But yeah, it was crazy. I mean, and Noel, and then our boy Luis from Fast 10, he was there. And then too, it was just the way they took care of us too. I mean, the flights, the suites they put us in, the people they had taking care of us too throughout the event. And then this is an event that we hope to be a part of in the years to come, to help grow this and make this bigger and better every year. And I think it's going to be something they're going to plan to do maybe twice a year. Looking forward.
For sure. And I mean, these type of events, these bring it out. Now, I know you brought some video back. Aaron's got some video for us. I want to check that out before we really kind of get into, more in depth about this event. Because I thought that this is great because this is culture, right? Anyways, Aaron, go ahead and fire those off. Let's take a look at these videos that Johnny sent over.
Arriba en el escenario está Héctor, Antoine, tu maestra aquí, por favor. Ok, necesitamos dar un pequeño espacio para que salgan nuestros invitados, señores. Abran un poquito de espacio. Cuidado del carro, no pongas el carro. Señores, hagan las cosas, señores, para que salgan. Recuerden que ellos van a estar también en la pista. Les invitamos que también en la pista, pero hoy vamos a hablar ahorita. Ok. Despedimos por aquí. Vamos con...
They worked really hard. It was a peaceful event. I mean, all those people, no metal detectors, no fights, no nothing. It was just all love from beginning to end.
That's cool. And it looked like it had a great rollout of cars that were there. I mean, let's be straight. Like, the event was built for the cars.
Yeah.
And the fanfare came because you guys were there, had a really fun, group that was there. And look, at the same time, being in Mexico and hitting the Hispanic culture and getting Noel G, getting yourself, getting Caesar, those are all, really, really good. And I'm sorry, I may have misspoken. What was Caesar? It was Lewis.
Yeah.
Lewis there. And again, Hispanic-based, actors and people in media that, just fit that event perfect. I always look at execution of events and how they execute their game plan and what they're doing, because that's been such a big staple for us. So to see that happen at this event, that's awesome.
Yeah, the love. I mean, especially too, we're able to communicate to them and talk to them. I mean, my Spanish, every time I go there, gets a little better and better. Same with Noel. And but no, it's incredible how many people still. The fan base is huge for Fast and Furious, and still the fan for Precio la Historia Pawn Stars is enormous out there, and it was great.
When you think about Fast and Furious, and Paul, I'm sure you can recollect back, when Fast and Furious came out, think about how massive that was and how it's continued to be as a franchise. Because in your world where you're dealing with a lot of TV and movies and productions and all of this stuff, how hard is it to keep something this strong for this long?
I'd say it's impossible. So if I hadn't seen it myself, but franchises like the Fast and the Furious or, Mission Impossible and things like that, Mission Impossible 8, but then Fast and the Furious 10. I mean, it's nearly impossible to keep people's interest, because especially in Hollywood where everything is what's the newest, latest, fastest, whatever. But I mean, this franchise has just outlasted all that, and everything that they make though is just as good, I think, as the last one. It's not like, that wasn't as good or whatever, or they're just real, sitting back on their laurels or what. No, I mean, I think that they really are doing a great job, and I support it. I mean, we need to come up with a Paul Vato character that maybe I drive an RV. I don't know. You're up to very comfortable, obviously. Yeah.
Paul Vato rolls up in a modified '68 Super Beetle, and you watch him for 15 minutes just trying to get his 6-foot frame out of it.
That's pretty funny. It's almost like maybe Paul's gig is that he's trying to organize street racing groups for some big actual street racing thing. So he's going around and recruiting those people. Yep, and he gets to smoke the cigar and all of that stuff and everything. Brendan, he's talking about those different franchises and stuff, and we've seen how they've rolled in. Fast did one of the things I thought was really smart, and that is they went and they got recognizable actors to come in and play key roles in what they were doing as they got farther away from the original set, right? Which already they tied in the hip-hop scene, right, with Ja Rule at the very first one, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously you had Ludacris got, involved through multiple versions. But Brendan, when you see that happen, your thumb is on the pulse of pop culture all the time. You see that happen and you see them like evolving that way. Do you see that being kind of like the roadmap for success for something like Fast and the Furious? What is your thoughts on that?
Well, it's interesting because when you talk to Noel, and I've done a couple panels with him where we talked about the longevity of the series, and it keeps reinventing itself, but without and if you ask him which are his favorites, it's obviously like the first 2 or 3. The first one, absolutely, but it keeps getting farther and farther away from the original concept. But without those later episodes that come in that have cameos and different things happening or whatever, like the interest kind of waxes and wanes, and you kind of lose interest for some of the beginning stuff. So without the stuff that's coming with 9 and 10, and the one I think they're making 11 now, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Without the continued reinvention, it kind of you kind of need that to keep all the rest of it relevant. But those original films are my favorite. And if you talk to Noel, he'll tell you those original films are he makes jokes about Fast and Furious and space and stuff, but it is very different from where they started. But they continue to sell, and because they continue to sell, people keep going back to where it started and reacquainting themselves with the first few movies. And you look at anything that's lasted. In entertainment, you look at musicians, Madonna, how many different looks and styles and, has she done throughout her career, Cher, and all these people that have just lasted through decades. You have to keep reinventing. So that's what they keep doing, and it keeps working. And as long as people are buying the tickets, it's going to keep happening. So,
yeah. Well, too, I think.
Didn't they?
Go ahead, Paul.
Didn't they do Cuba? Like one of the Fast and Furious?
Yeah, Dubai. They've been all over the place.
They went to Puerto Rico.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's amazing.
but it changed the whole culture. I remember the street scene when we were cruising back in those days, and then Fast and Furious hit, and then all of a sudden all the tuners were everywhere, and that's just
right.
overnight just changed the whole culture.
100%. I tell you right now, I had a 13-second all-motor 97 Civic 4-door with full interior that did 13-second quarter miles. Like, I was in that scene. I had NOS in my car that never got used because my car got wrecked before we got there. But, and again, Aaron, you can run through some of those photos and just kind of show some of the photos from the event. But here's a great shot of all the cars you could see. And that's what I wanted to point out.
One of the films right there.
Yeah,
they're all lined up, ready to go. That looks like it's right out of the movie.
Absolutely.
Dude, yeah, and we were racing. Noel, somebody had us sign his race car, and then Noel just said, "Hey, can I drive it?" He's like, "Yeah, of course." So we were flying down the raceway with Noel, and if it's the scariest thing anytime you drive with Noel, no matter where he is. And then this is some of the great food we had. Oh my God, it was incredible there. The locals, the food, the drinks, this is our layover in Mexico City. And then meanwhile, we're just having all this fun and chill in this beautiful environment. And then we're looking, every time I look on Facebook, I'm just like, what the heck is going on in the United States? But
No,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah, these are all the people that showed up. It was unreal. And then I stopped to visit my boy Lewis and his toy shop, and he had a bunch of like one-off pieces, some vintage toys. There goes a card sheet of Garbage Pail Kids. I picked up some strawberry shortcakes from Mexico, some Loli Leti, original pieces from Mexico. That was exciting. So yeah, I mean, that's always a mandatory stop anywhere I go, to go and search for some items to fill my bags up and bring back home.
Well, speaking of items to fill your bags up, since we're talking about Fast and Furious, one of the very cool things that's coming out is a piece by Fan Home that actually I think is going to be a really, really big piece. And Brendan, why don't you walk us through what Fan Home is doing?
All right, so this is another Fast and Furious. It's a 1:8 scale die-cast buildup, and this one is the NDP Toyota Supra. This is Brian O'Connor's original car, I think, when he was still a cop, and it's the modified import. It's their subscription service that they do. They send out a couple pieces each, or for the first month, and then it's 6 pieces after that. And each month you get a new box. It comes with the magazines. It comes with the information about the film and stuff. We have a sizzle reel. I don't know if we can pull that up real quick.
Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way. I'm coming right for you. Get out the way.
But it's made of die-cast and ABS injected plastic. It's a faithful replica of the car in every detail. These things are screen accurate. The lights work, the horn works. It's got lights, around the NOS in the back.
That's
It's got
so
the
cool.
huge aluminum wing on the back. It makes engine and horn sounds. The seats are stitched. The steering wheel has that Sparco steering wheel on it, and everything's already painted. It comes and you can see kind of the scale there with this dude's hand. This thing is 22 inches long, 9 inches wide, and 6 inches tall. It is a massive, massive piece.
This is crazy. And you build this up as you go. So you subscribe to it and you're getting your pieces to build it. So you get to build the car as you go. I think that Fan Homes hit a home run here. The likeness, the size, the scaling, everything is going to be very, very well done. Multiple, accessory pieces that you see there, the steering wheel, the rims are 2 pieces. All of that stuff I think is going to be a very, very formidable thing for this. And Fan Homes doing an incredible job on this. So definitely make sure. And Brendan, where can they go to be able to get this?
If you just look up Fan Home and Fast and Furious, they have a whole collection. So they've done Dom's Dodge Charger, they've done Brian's Nissan Skyline, they've done now they're going to do his Supra. So they have a whole collection on there. 2 of them are already going, and this one is in pre-order right now. So just look up Fan Home, Fast and Furious, it'll all pop up.
Oh, that's great. Well, guys, when we come back from the break, we are going to be talking to. It's funny. I got to think about how this guy was such a staple in my childhood, and we're going to be talking to today.
Vado's RV.
But we're going to be visiting with a friend that you'll know him as Bud Bundy from Married with Children. But we'll be back. David Faustino will join us right after the break here on Who the Gets Frank on GoLiveVegas.
Patty's the worst. Comic-Con.com, your daily comic convention online. Insightful reviews, previews of the comics, toys, and games you need to know. Delightful chats with luminaries from around the geek spectrum. In print, on video, and everywhere in between. The show never stops on Comic-Con.com.
Tuesday. Screaming loud, loud for no reason. The press fest asks you to beat our season, raising voices. We stand tall. Together we can conquer. We won't fall. Finally won't back down. Your love and hope were our crown.
All right, want to welcome you back to Who the Gets Frank here on GoLiveVegas, of course, on Spotify and the One of Us Comics YouTube channel. And we are going to be joined here in just a couple of minutes by David Faustino. But first, we want to send a thank you to our friends at Voodoo Lounge for their support of the show. And that's a Voodoo Brewery down in the Arts District. Make sure you guys stop by, check them out. Weekly events, great craft beers, a ton of fun. And of course, Allison, the owner over there, does an incredible job with really giving back to the Las Vegas community. So make sure you guys support her. But we're really excited because we get joined today by a special guest. You know him as Bud Bundy from the show Married with Children. Also, I think he spent some time in the world of hip hop as Grandmaster B, and we want to welcome in at this time Mr. David Faustino. Everybody, welcome in, David.
Thank you. Got to be biggest.
Welcome.
Weird. Thank you.
So
everybody.
very, very good, man. Thank you. And if you haven't had a chance to meet everybody, I'll run through really quick. So Johnny Jimenez from the Las Vegas Toy Shack and the original toy expert on History's Pawn Stars. My name is Steve Johnston. I am the current toy expert on History's Pawn Stars and also one of the owners of a One of Us Comics location. Brendan Allen from ComicCon.com. And then I think you know this other guy, Mr. Paul Vato, comedian and pitchman extraordinaire.
I've met Paul once or twice, you know.
He sent us a really great photo. It looked like, now Paul's a kid of the 90s, right? So we understand that, you know, it wasn't that far back, right? But Paul had a nice button up on, a cigar, and you both look quite a bit younger. So it seems like you guys have spent some time together in the past here. Tell me, how did you and Paul meet?
Oh, fuck, man. First of all, yeah, it's always great to hang out with the nerd crew on a Monday or Tuesday, I should say. It's Tuesday, right?
That's Tuesday when this comes out. Yeah.
It's Tuesday. Like I said, it's always fun to hang out with the nerds on Tuesday. Thank you for having me. Paul and I, Paul, I'll let you tell that one. How do we know each other?
Well, I mean, basically, you insulted me the first time we met, because David had studied David had studied improv at the Groundlings with my ex-wife Sarah. So Sarah tells me she knows, Dave Faustino. I'm like, no, you don't. Like, whatever. So we go to a party, probably at Velvet Margarita Cantina, where they had a drink named
Paul's connection is always kind of sketch.
Well, in fairness, this is on brand for Paul.
Discount.
And all I remember is that, oh, you like those big fuckers, huh? And then he followed my ex-wife into the bathroom.
It's even funnier that it keeps cutting out because it's coming back at the most inappropriate times. That's amazing.
Totally.
You can't plan this kind of comedy for sure.
Then he follows my ex-wife into the bathroom. And then he stops me. He goes, "That's okay. We're friends." Like, that makes it okay to just follow her to the bathroom, and so they can continue their improv conversation. I guess that's what they do at the ground days, but not at the Improv Olympic where I go.
You know how we roll, man. You know how we roll.
Paul,
Cutting out what we heard said.
they were just setting up.
Followed my wife into the bathroom, and then, dude, that's the greatest story ever. Just the way you told it right there. That's perfect.
Your discount internet is, still wonders the story.
Well, we talk about Paul. Paul still receives those discs from AOL, right? So, and he actually, like, he gives them away as like party gifts now, right? He just goes to parties and he's like, "Hey, would you guys like one?" He's still on their mailing list somehow. So he got there. So what have you been up to, David? Tell us a little bit about what you've been going, what you've been getting into. What do you have going on? Any projects? What's happening with you?
Oh, man. I'm always staying busy. I mean, my biggest projects right now are, raising my two kids. I have two young kids, so they keep me really busy. So like, I really enjoy like being able to have time to spend with them, which has been great. It's now summer, so I'm spending a lot of fucking time with them. But yeah, I mean, my career's kind of like ventured in a few different directions. Mainly voiceover. I've been doing a voiceover career for like 20 years now, and it's been a really great. It's just been great to me. I'm able to do cartoons and commercials and narration and all that good stuff. I mean, I do a lot of it right from my own home. I have a couple campaigns, Cricket Wireless, and some other things, as well as cartoons, and I really enjoy it. And my kids, my son gets to hang out with me and watch me, like, on How to Train Your Dragon on Netflix or something, and my daughter likes the Legend of Korra thing that I do, and so it's a really cool thing. And the time, it doesn't, you still have a life because the time constraints aren't like they are for on camera. So in that sense, it's been a real gift. And as Paul knows, I do a lot of DJing around the country, sometimes the world. And that's, a real pleasure because it's something I really enjoy doing. I love music, always have. And it's just a pleasure for me to, spin records and DJ and have fun. and sometimes get paid for it. So yeah, and then and then right now I'm in the middle of finishing up a documentary film, actually about the hip hop scene in in a club I created back in the '90s called Ballistics, which will.i.am was discovered at, as well as many others, and the whole untold story of that club. And we haven't finished. We're just kind of putting on the final touches right now.
No, that's awesome. And, it's funny to see because I have a DJ background myself. And so I know what you're talking about, especially when you made the comment. I had to chuckle when you made the comment. I can get paid sometimes because it's one of those things that sometimes you do the labor of love because that's a passion project more than it is, say, work in that area. Whereas you've been in film and voiceover and all of that stuff. And I think the uniqueness of being in the voiceover side of things and bringing that in, and I want to be the first to say, happy belated Father's Day. I hope you enjoyed your day with the kids. And as we all kind of alluded to that earlier, but, Johnny, I know you grew up, the same time period I did. We had the same shows. David was on TV in our house on a regular basis. Was it yours too?
It was huge. Like, it was just so relatable. Every character on that show was just so relatable to everybody in our family. And it was just a staple in our house, especially my dad and you and Kelly and my sister and the way we were. But no, I'm thankful for you guys and everything you guys created. And it was definitely an escape for us mentally and something that our family enjoyed for many years, man. It was absolutely incredible what you guys did.
That's awesome. Well, I love to hear it. I mean, I get to hear that a lot, that, some people say they can only connect with their parents. They would hang out and watch the show and they'd all laugh every Sunday night. And, that's, that means a lot to me. It's cool that I got to do it and be a part of that. I'm still friends with the cast to this day. I mean, I'm working with them on, we're actually putting together like a series of, kind of theater reunions, like big theaters around the country, where we go doing Q&As and hang out and do merch and meet and greets. And so I think the first one is going to be actually here in LA as like a trial run at the Wiltern Theater. We don't have a date yet, but just talking to them a lot. I talk to Ed constantly. Ed's still one of my really good friends, and he's one of the funniest fucking guys I know still.
I can only imagine.
And I'm sure, being a kid coming up during that time period and having someone like that's playing a role model that's not really truly a complete role model, but then they always made sure he had his moments of like the father, teachings. There was always a teaching moment, in everything that was done. But did he, portray that off camera to you as well? Like how did that go for you as far as growing up with that?
I mean, yeah, for better or for worse. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was more of a friendship, I'd say, than him sort of like guiding me necessarily in the right direction. Although, I really respect Ed for a lot of things. I mean, he's, first of all, a great actor. He's very committed to what he does. He knows his worth. He's also, he's very disciplined in that, he spent years and years and years, attempting to get a black belt, which he finally did in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which some people know, some people don't. And so I definitely look up to him.
That's dude, that's so cool. And then I got to ask you, man, because you were young at the time.
As well, believe it or not, because he actually came to the club a few times. There was a huge hit to the people there. They went berserk, and so we actually interview him, and he's in the documentary.
Wow, that's so cool.
I had a question. When doing the research for this, and I had no idea, but the Grandmaster B character was based loosely on your own aspirations of being a rapper. You're DJing now. And I saw an episode in 2019, you were on Drop the Mic, and you absolutely obliterated Blossom's Joey Lawrence. What was that experience like? Is that just growing up and growing into like what you always wanted to do as a little kid, or is that just a side piece, or what's going on?
I mean, I've always, secretly had that dream of like, being a big rapper. I used to like, I would put KRS-One at the time, Boogie Down Production Records up in my room when I was a kid, going that way back. I've been like 13, 14 years old. And I remember like putting on concerts and I was like KRS-One, you know what I mean? But they were my lyrics, not his.
Yeah.
And, and so it was just something I always loved to do. And, as the years went on, I would have I started making friends with some of these guys out, going to hip hop spots as a young kid. And, a lot of them would come to the set, and including guys like Ice Cube and Ice-T and lots of other cats. And the writers were like, yo, what is this? What's going on with Dave? So they sort of created that Grandmaster B character sounded to poke fun, but also as an ode to, it was kind of a cool little thing. And the fans ended up just really loving the whole sort of, what is it, alter ego type thing. So that's kind of how it came about. Yeah. And now I use it as my DJ moniker for shits and giggles, because why not?
Yeah, I got to tell you, man. I mean, I know you grew up fast and young because being in that industry. So now, being a dad,
anything here, Paul Vato grew up fast.
So I got to ask you, man. Do you collect anything, or now you're going to relive some of your childhood through your kids now, being a dad?
I wish I did collect more. I mean, it's just never been sort of my world. But I mean, I have a couple Funko Pops that they made, one of Bud Bundy, and then one of Mako, the character I do on Legend of Korra, which is always cool because, it's like you have the generation that knows Bud Bundy. There you go, you have it right there, and then you have the generation that knows Mako. So it's like I'll go to some of these conventions, and these people, the parents will come up and they'll be like, oh, Bud Bundy married with children. Kid has no idea, but they know who Mako is. And so it's kind of a cool generation gap thing that I get to be a part of both of these generations.
That's great. And I've talked to some of the Power Ranger, friends that we have, and they've said very similar things where, coming up and being in the early Power Ranger stuff and then having it circle back as much as it has over the years. That to me, I think is really cool. And I love that generational connection is there for you for so long, and that you've been able to maintain and stay involved there. You mentioned your voice acting credits. I don't think people know this enough with you, because you would be doing a lot more conventions and shows with people being able to correlate it, because if they have that ability to be able to go, hey, he's going to resonate well with the parents, the older crowd that's there because they grew up watching him on TV, and then the kids are there because your anime voices resonate with them. I think that's great, and I would definitely say don't hesitate to take advantage of that, because that market is, and I'm sure you know this, but that market is incredibly massive out there for you to find it. And look, your Funko Pop is desirable. People want your autograph on there. They want pictures of you with it. I think that you've got, this is a great lay of the land in time for you to be able to take advantage of that. So I hope you're getting more opportunities to do it. I know Paul's talked to us about a few that he's brought on the show, and we've mentioned that you were going to be doing. But what are some of the shows you have upcoming or things that you might be doing that people might be able to find you at?
I mean, I do a good amount of the the convention signings here and there. Like I'm actually going to one this coming weekend up in Edmonton, Canada. So I don't know. I wish I should probably know what the name of the fucking.
We've got Aaron the producer's here, because Aaron the producer is our resident Canadian, which
I'm waiting to see here if I have the name of it. It's Lethbridge.
I mean,
it's in Lethbridge, just outside of Edmonton. It's the Lethbridge Comic-Con type thing. Whoever the fuck left.
And Aaron is saying that Lethbridge is outside of Calgary, not Edmonton. But this is our resident. This is our resident Canadian speaking. I geographically I couldn't tell you, but
okay. They would know better than me. That's somewhere.
All right, so that would be the Lethbridge Entertainment and Collector Expo 2025. That's June 20th at 4 o'clock through June 22nd at 5 p.m. That's featuring special guests from Resident Evil, Stranger Things, Howard the Duck, and our Fred Bundy here.
Take off, eh? What? What is that in snow? Is that in snow, Mexico? That's what I call Canada, snow, Mexico.
No.
Yeah, he's definitely, Paul has taken and given a moniker to our Canadian friends in the north with that reference.
Thank you, Paul.
So,
Yeah.
David,
So,
you've done a ton of
You're
things.
here.
We've seen some incredible stuff with you over the years. I know Paul also from the comedic side has brought in. You do more improv in the comedy side, right? Than doing comedy sets. Or are you doing both? What can people expect from you if they see you on a comedy lineup?
Well, I'm trying to put together a little my first what they call a tight five, and so I just started kind of working with a couple writers. I have to host an event in Florida in August that I'm actually DJing, but I'm also hosting the comic lineup. It's at a comedy club, and so I'm kind of like letting that burn a fire under my ass to get my little tight five done, so I can do like my 5-minute opening and then be the host the rest of the night. So we'll see. Mine's probably a lot of storytelling mostly, like because I have so many stories to tell from my experience, and a lot of them are fucking hilarious. So that'll be kind of the crux of my act is storytelling a bit.
Well, storytelling is always big. Comedy, even if it's just a stage presence, to be able to tell those comedic stories or tell something that maybe someone doesn't expect. And I think you're spot on there. We appreciate you coming on, man. We know that your time was limited today, and we thank you very much. And of course, we are going to support your career and continue to look forward to what you're doing. You're always welcome to join us here on the show anytime you want. You got something you want to talk about, please, by all means, feel free to join us here. But again, guys, give it up for David Faustino, Bundy, and a voice actor extraordinaire and Grandmaster B. Thank you for being here.
Thank you guys so much. Yeah, it was great to be on the show.
No, absolutely.
Where can people find you, David? What's the best place for
Just like Instagram basically is where I really kind of at David Faustino at Instagram. Check me out.
Yeah, I looked him up when I was doing research for the show. I looked up his Insta, and there's like 6 people impersonating him. It's the one with 56,000 followers. Perfect.
Well, there you go. So make sure you follow him on Instagram, guys. David Faustino.
No, bro. Come on. I look. What's that?
We'll definitely make sure that we get you followed, guys. Follow David on Instagram. And again, David, thank you for joining us today. When we come back from this break, guys, we will be talking about the new comics of the week. And of course, we'll be wrapping the show up with a special text from someone. Anyways, we'll be right back. This is Who the F is Frank on GoLiveVegas.
Patty's the worst. Comicon.com, your daily comic convention online. Insightful reviews, previews of the comics, toys, and games you need to know. Delightful chats with luminaries from around the geek spectrum. In print, on video, and everywhere in between. The show never stops on Comicon.com.
Stop the gas, feel the thrill, chase the legends, the dreams fulfill. In the game, where you saw it gods, it's all here again in these sports. Yeah! Let me swim, fuel the fire, let the blade begin. And this war ignites your flame, every clock, every dream, every game.
Come on down to the good old bar. Craft beer is never too far. Like do every night. Do what through and get it right. Raise the glass, raise your hat. The booze, friends who live. Dance around, let them play. Voodoo Boys a place to stay.
Screaming clowns, loud for no reason. The press fest, that's you the beat. I see some racing voices. We stand tall. Together we can conquer. We won't fall. Fly, we won't back down. Love and hope were our crown.
Well, welcome back to Who the F is Frank here on GoLiveVegas, the One of Us Comics YouTube, Spotify, TikTok for GoLiveVegas, and anywhere you get your content. Make sure you guys do that. This segment brought to you by the Nerd Bar, located at Fremont Street, right upstairs from the Toy Shack, downtown Las Vegas there in Neonopolis. The Nerd always has really cool events going on all the time, so make sure you guys stop by, check them out. Even if you just go in to adult beverage and arcade, you want to see some cool memorabilia, whatever it is, the nerd has you taken care of there. And then you can visit Johnny downstairs at the Toy Shack as well. So two birds with one stone there for you.
Yeah.
David Faustino, how cool was that, Paul? Thank you for making that happen. That was great.
Incredible. Yeah, talking to him, he looked great. I mean, man, it just so many memories pop back from my childhood and our family, and dude, how great that show was. But it definitely impacted us in a lot of ways too. It was just so relatable. My dad was a garbage man. He was and then being a shoe salesman, the dad just was, I don't know, to our family, and the bickering back and forth between mom and dad, that was our home. So definitely love that show and brought back a lot of memories.
It's funny how you say that, because my dad at the time when it first came out was a car salesman.
Yeah.
Right. So my dad had that same schedule. He'd come home, he'd sit down, he'd want to relax for a few minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it really did resonate in my house. And I know that it did with you guys as well. That was a lot of fun. Now, Brendan got a chance to sit down with a creator, Brian Bucceletto from Eat Your Young, and he's got an interview, and we're going to go ahead and show you guys that now.
Hey, this is Brendan from Comic-Con, doing an exclusive interview here today for the Who the F is Frank podcast. Today, we've got joining us Brian Bucceletto, who's working on a book called Eat Your Young. Good morning, Brian. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, thanks.
All right, so you're working with artist Mattia Monaco and letterer Buddy Bedoin on this one. It's called Eat Your Young. It comes out August 20th from Mad Cave Studios. The solicit says Edmund Irons, a 2,000-year-old warlord, names his 6-year-old daughter Elsa as the next alpha of his immortal clan. But every 100 years, during a brutal 27-day window known as the Centurium, his children have one chance to rip out his heart and claim the throne, or lose their immortality forever. Now Edmund's 30 offspring, an iconic cast of genre archetypes like the Cold War spy, the serial killer, the vigilante, the punk rocker, and the billionaire futurist, turn on their father and each other in a zero-sum battle for eternal life. Wow, that is a mouthful. Tell us about the story.
I mean, I like to call it sort of like Highlander meets Succession. It's really sort of a love letter to like 80s, 90s like action genre, but with heart. I think what I've tried to do here is sort of like merge like modern television storytelling, very character first, in depth, flipping tropes on their heads, with big action and sort of like a high concept, which in this case is there are these immortal clans. And the alpha is immortal, and so are his children for as long as he's immortal. And when he becomes immortal during the Centurium, it's like, immortality is up for grabs. And so it's sort of like a race to see, who will claim, in this case, the immortal irons is what it's called.
Interesting. Yeah, no, so when I was like reading the solicit on this, I was kind of thinking of Kronos and Krishna. Kronos ate his own children to prevent being overthrown, and there's stories of Krishna. I guess it's not canon, but there are stories of Krishna eating his children. But it speaks back to, power and prophecy and like the cycle of history. And so you've got these kings, you've got these powerful people, these deities who, during a certain period, they're infallible, and then they have this vulnerability. And during that period of vulnerability, all hell breaks loose. And it sounds like you've kind of taken that and run in a different direction with it, and then thrown in all these tropes, like you said, with the serial killer, the vigilante, the Cold War spy. This is all stuff that came out a lot during the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think for me, it was very sort of simple, right? The main character, he's a 2,000-year-old warlord, of Sumerian lineage, right, which goes back even farther, like 6,000 years or whatever. So he's part of this mortal clan. So think like sort of like, what if like Conan had been around for like 2,000 years? He's been immortal, and he has all these children, and every 100 years he's got to fight them if they want the throne. So he's been killing his kids every 100 years for 20 times. And so now we're in modern day New York City, and he's tired, and he's got 30 children that are currently immortal, and he's ready to hang it up. And so he decides to name an heir, which sort of goes against the right of challenge. And so a lot of the other siblings have something to say about it.
Oh, sure. So that 6-year-old daughter Elsa is going to be a target for 29 other children. And she's 6, so she's got nothing except if daddy helps her.
Yeah, for sure. And so they choose sides. So it's not like it's 29 against 2. right? There's certain of the siblings who are very close to their father and like accept him what he's asking for and his decision. And then there's some that are like, no, I've waited 90 years to fucking kill you, and like it's my honor to do so, and I'm gonna do that. And then there's like, one guy's like a serial killer who's like, I don't care, I just want to watch the world burn, so I'm just gonna screw everything up. So
You always get that one.
yeah, yeah, all these interesting sort of characters. Like there's like a Russian sort of Soviet spy who is out for himself. You've got a weaselly futurist rich guy who he just wants to survive. So like there's all these different character types. Like one's like Ian Fleming, basically, he was like a spy who wrote novels, and he's sort of like his father's right hand man. So the concept was just to take all these interesting characters that we've seen throughout, like books and TV and film, and put them in this family, and then just sort of play around with it. And so in the comic you'll see like flashbacks to specific characters, siblings, that sort of inform who they are and the choices they're making, because it's not just kill, shoot 'em up. Like what I'm really going for is like really sort of heartfelt and interesting stories, and you'll understand why this one character feels a certain way about the father, why like all these experiences they had in their life that sort of motivate their actions.
How many issues are scheduled for this?
Six.
6 issues. Okay, because if it was 4, you would have a hard time fitting all of the expedition you needed in that first chapter, and getting everything wrapped up in 4. So 6, that sounds good.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
it's sequelable, so I'm hoping that in success we'll be able to do more issues. Another volume.
oh yeah, sure. Because the cycle is every 100 years. Whoever comes out on top of this mountain is going to have to do it again in a century, which is going to give you another setting and another time period to work within.
Yeah, I mean, if it's resolved by the end of the 6 issues, so then there's that.
Doesn't it kind of have to be by its nature, though? If everybody loses their immortality by the end, except for whoever's on the king of the mountain, whoever's left standing, does everybody loses their immortality? Those folks aren't still going to be alive in 100 years, are they?
No, but I guess that's to say that it's not necessarily the first volume is not necessarily the entirety of this Centurion. I think you can have a satisfying ending without having the resolution of seeing who wins and who comes out on top.
Oh, I got you. And one thing I just thought of too is that there's nothing to say that vampire longevity is the same as human longevity, because immortality for a vampire could be millennia versus, a lifespan of 300 or 500 years. We don't know.
Right. Yeah. So the other conceit is that let's say you're one of the siblings and you decide you don't want to face your Conan dad, when the Centurion is over, then you'll just start aging, and so you'll live another 70, 80 years if you're healthy.
Okay, so you're working with Mati on this one, and he is totally bought into your vision. His quote is, "Each Year Young reimagines classic fantasy archetypes in modern-day New York, weaving a brutal, emotional story of family betrayal and the struggle against inherited roles." Now, how did you and Mattia come together on this one? And what's that process kind of been like, working with the script and the art to kind of make this finished product?
Sure. So this is our second collab. I did a book called Chicken Devil with Aftershock in, I think, 2022-ish, 2021, 2022. And then he didn't do the art on that, but he did the second volume called Chicken Devils, which was like a 5-issue sequel that 4 of the 5 issues came out before Aftershock did the Aftershock thing. And so
The Aftershock thing. Yes. Okay, go ahead.
Didn't think about it. But so we worked together on that series, and I thought he was a phenomenal storyteller. I don't know if I want to take credit for it, but I wanted him to color his own work, because I find that when you have artists that do the whole, they envision it from in a certain way that if you're just doing pencils or inks, oftentimes like you're leaving it to someone else to sort of finish the job. And so I like artists who, I really enjoy artists that do all the way through colors. And so I pushed him to try it, and I think he is great at it. So, it's just a great experience working with him, because he's a great storyteller. I think he's very gestural, and he uses the line work to, convey like emotion and mood and movement. and then the color for tone. So I think he's phenomenal.
All right, so the register pitch, and sometimes I like to go to the register pitch instead of the full pitch because it just kind of gives an idea. It says, for fans of Highlander, Old Boy, Street Fighter, and You've Been Canceled, Eat Your Young is for anyone who take out a sibling for a shot at eternal life. Some want power, some want revenge, some just want to watch it all burn. And you already mentioned the one that wants to watch it all burn. And I got to say, there's one of my siblings that I would take out for a cheeseburger. So I really, I really appreciate like the way that this is just kind of like consolidated. It's like, here's this whole big thing, but like it really just breaks down to, do you just want to see him just fight to the death? Because that's what's happening here.
Yeah, no, that's it in a nutshell. I think there's like a vigilante Daredevil Batman type sibling. There's like a Bonnie and Clyde incestuous couple that are siblings.
Oh.
Like the whole gamut of characters. There's like a Michelle Yeoh, sort of a martial artist character. So like I really leaned into like the fun things from pop culture and entertainment.
Nice. Fantastic. All right. So it's Eat Your Young. It's coming this August from Mad Cave Studios. It's August 20th. Tell your local stores that you want the book, because if they don't know that you want it, they don't know to order it. And that's how these things work. So I want to thank you very much for your time this morning, Brian. Looking forward to reading the book.
Hey, man, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right, so Brendan, you got to spend some time with Brian there. That was incredible. And now that you've had a chance to kind of, sit after that interview and you did, like, what were the things that really stood out to you that he has going on?
Well, it's just really cool when you can take a genre that is so widespread, that is so used and has so many tropes, and find a new angle on it. So the whole succession thing, this thing comes around once every 100 years, and all of the kids are fighting, and they get an opportunity to kill their father and become the immortal head of the family, or they lose their immortality. So it's kind of a cool angle, and he gets to, because of the longevity of the vampires, he gets to pull characters and stereotypes out of different eras. So there's like the 20s gangster, and there's the influencer, and he talked about a few different characters that are in the book. And I've read the first book now. I hadn't read it at the time that we did the interview, and it's really good. I like it. So it's gonna be fun to see where it goes. It's scheduled for a miniseries, but he said he wants to do some spin-outs after. So we'll see how many different series come out of this, but I think it's got a good chance.
Yeah, so it looks like Eat Your Young, #1, looks like it's going to be coming out August 20-ish, 2025, give or take. We always say give or take because you never know when a publisher will push, a week or two, but that is the solicited dates that are on there. Brian Buccellato, Matteo Monaco, and Buddy Boudoin on the project, and I think that that's great. And so you guys make sure, pick that up, check it out, grab a copy, support these artists and these creators that are coming up with this really cool stuff. And all it takes is just that one concept, and it takes off, and it gets a movie, and it gets everything. And so we can only hope that these guys are able to pull that together. And look, we've been all reading comics since we were kids and seeing storylines and watching all of these movies that come off of the different comics and everything. And so you never know when that next one up is going to be. And so we wish Brian and the team over there, much success on that publication and that. Well, we have new comics coming out tomorrow, and we need to check those out. And the first one that is coming up this week is Adventure Comics #210.
Now, this one's actually not old. It's a facsimile, but timed with the release of the new film. They're doing a golden biscuit promotion with this. So they're polybagging these, and there's going to be like the golden ticket. It's a Willy Wonka thing. There's 2 golden biscuits. So 2 fans who buy this are going to have an opportunity. It's a trip for 2 to Los Angeles for the premiere that's happening later in July. So it's a reprint of one of the first appearances of Crypto. And they're doing this promotion. So whoever gets that golden biscuit in their polybagged version of this one gets to go to the premiere. And I think that's a really cool thing. So even though it's not a new comic, it is dropping the facsimile this week, and the promotion's really cool.
Now, Johnny, you and I talked a lot about these blind bag concepts that they're starting to do with the comic books. Kind of like trading cards, right?
Yeah, in a way, but I think this is a great incentive, and I think they this is a good start. But I think there's so much more to this that they can do. It's really exciting, the idea of this, and I think it's going to definitely change the hobby in a lot of ways.
Well, this movie, as funny as it is, we haven't had the fanfare behind a DC like we're having with this one. And let's be fair, it's Crypto, right? Like,
you might be the star of the movie. That might be the game changer that they need to change the direction that all these other DC movies have been going.
And there's a ton of promo out on this. In fact, one of the promos that I'm involved with is actually with Yamava Casino. They are giving away an Action Comics #1 through their Players Club.
I did see that. That's incredible.
It's incredible. That book is worth over $400,000, and they're going to be giving that away to somebody. And that promo runs through the movie release, and you can check all that out at Yamava. And if you're from Las Vegas, you're like, wait, Yamava? So that's the San Manuel tribe, and they actually own the Palms.
Yeah.
And then Yamava is another one of their casinos that they have, and one of their projects that they have, amongst the other things that they're involved with. But they're getting really involved in the collectible space. I love the fact that they're doing this. They've got a bunch of stuff coming down the road as well that'll be a lot of fun. But this was definitely something that I was impressed with when they were telling me what they were going to do with this comic book. When they called up and are basically, hey, we're trying to find an Action Comics 1 so we can give it away.
Yeah, that's unheard of. That's unheard of in the world of like promotions. I mean, that reminds me of almost like that. Was it the Pepsi one with the jet or whatever they did a long time ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, again, when you do these type of promotions, and for them to forward think into that community as a casino to say, hey, it's easy for them to always shoot towards, let's say their, their target market or whatever, they're actually going for a younger demographic here.
Yeah.
And I think that's great, because I think that that's a lot of fun and will be really good. So again, Adventure Comics 210 releases this week, but there's more coming up. And the next one up is Godzilla vs. Avengers #1, more in the Godzilla Versus line.
Right, so this is the 5th in their series of one-shots that's pitting the King of Monsters versus Marvel characters and teams. It says the original New Avengers return to face an unstoppable enemy in Godzilla. In the aftermath of a massive battle between Godzilla, Fin Fang Foom, the Avengers, and Jet Jaguar, S.H.I.E.L.D. tries to make sense of what went down, but everyone's telling a different story. What really happened during the fatal crash? And find out what Earth's mightiest heroes do when they take on Earth's mightiest kaiju.
So, Paul, who do you think wins this? Is it going to be Godzilla or the Avengers?
Or there's more Avengers, so I'm thinking the Avengers of just like 100 men versus a bear. I really think that the Avengers should be able to take down Godzilla.
I mean, Godzilla isn't the size of a bear, though, is he, Johnny?
No, it's the size of the huge building, but yeah, I don't know. I think the Avengers would take them, though.
I mean,
it'd be a good fight for sure.
I think it's going to be close.
I think that Hulk, and I know he's not on this cover, but I feel like Hulk has to play a huge part of this, right? Because he's got to, at least, if anything, be able to kind of like slow him down. Doesn't necessarily have to stop him, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. He definitely would play a significant part in this battle if he was involved.
Now, I find this interesting, and
I mean,
I don't recall, but when did Wolverine have an actual Avengers tie? I'm sure it's happened. I just don't recall it offhand, where Wolverine was actually considered a member of the Avengers.
Yeah, how does the X-Men feel about that? Like, hey, what's going on here? You know what I mean? I don't...
Feel like you're cheating on me?
I mean, they're Avengers disassembled.
I mean, I guess so. I guess maybe it's the disassembling and then coming back, and it's like, hey, we're the Avengers, but right now we're open for everybody. Now, I don't know.
No, it was the events of Avengers Disassembled. It says Wolverine has been an Avenger. He was frequently a member of the Avengers, especially after the events of Avengers Disassemble.
Okay.
He did not appear in the 2012 film due to rights issues with 20th Century Fox.
So I just wonder if maybe because maybe that's kind of the arc they're going with, is the disassemble Avengers. So again, comic books, as soon as there's a new verse or something out there, you get a whole nother character set. You get versions of those characters, different iterations, whatever it is. You get your friendly Spider-Man in one, you get your pissed off Spider-Man in another. I totally get it. And as I look at this cover too, you see Spider-Woman on there, not Spider-Man, right? Yeah. So
Spider-Man's right there.
Oh yeah, he is. He's up in the top. Yeah, can't ever miss an opportunity for Spider-Man to be on a cover.
Yeah, you're right. Kind of blends in right there.
Well, speaking of spin-off verses, this next book is part of that, and that's from the Deadpool universe. And Gwenpool #2, this has a first appearance, Brendan?
Yes, sir. This is the first appearance of the Architect. It says, enter Weapon X. Gwenpool faces her deadly doppelganger as New York burns. Who is the mysterious Architect? What are his plans for the Marvel Universe? Guest starring the spectacular Spider-Man and Kate Bishop.
That's a dude? I don't know.
Yeah, is it a guy or a girl?
You know what? The 1 of 50 Leslie Larrick's Lee Virgin variant, which is the next cover, shows that character more, and it does look like a female character. It did say a dude in the thing, so maybe the Architect is the one behind that's pulling strings, because it said the doppelganger. So is this a Gwenpool doppelganger that's being controlled by the Architect?
And that's possible because this does look very Deadpool suit, just purple, right?
Yeah.
So I could see that. Gwenpool, she's interesting. Her storyline has not ever really like taken off in a massive way, but if she can get a protagonist that really gets like going and causes a lot of disruption and causes to where she has to bring in other heroes to try to help with things, a lot of times that's a good success for, a book. And maybe that's where they're going to go with this. I am interested to see this. I'll definitely be paying attention to this storyline for sure. This next one, look, this is purely one of those ones that when you have lightning in a bottle, you want to give that bottle to any and everyone who is interested in it. And this is Jeff the Land Shark #1, not Jeff the Shark #1, like we've already seen. Tell us about this one, Brendan.
So this is the first headline series for Jeff. It's obviously spinning out of his popularity from, Marvel Rivals. It says a possible first appearance from Shadow Jeff, and you don't see that until the cover of issue #2. So that's kind of like peeking ahead a little bit. But it says friends and rivals, so they put rivals right in the solicit. Hot off his star-making appearance in Marvel Rivals, everyone's favorite walking fish boy has bitten off his first starring miniseries. Join Jeff as he teams up with many of his friends he's made over the years and outsmarts more than a few rivals along the way. They said rivals like 15 times. This time, he's got some new abilities on his side. Rivals.
Well, again, as I'm saying, this is one of those chances for Marvel. They found a character that's resonating with everybody, not just one group of people.
Yeah.
And Jeff the Shark has definitely jumped to that. Go ahead and show that other cover. Here's the alternate cover here. Tell us about this one, Brendan.
This is a 1 of 100, so it's a incentive cover. It's done by Stanley Archer Lau, and it's the Marvel Rivals Virgin variant. So the regular variant by Lau is you can direct order. This one is the 1 of 100. So to get it virgin like this, you have to order 100 copies.
And this is a great cover. I love this. This is a book. If you pick this up this week and you can make it to the Amazing Las Vegas Comic-Con this weekend, you'll be able to meet John Bailey, the voice of Jeff the Shark in Rivals. He will be signing at that show. And so what a great timing for a Las Vegas show to have a voice actor or an actor coming in that actually is involved with this character. So this is going to be great. It's going to be a book people are going to be able to pick up and be able to do that. And again, you can go to AmazingLasVegasComicCon.com, get your tickets there. Still tickets available for the weekend. Autograph experiences and prices are up on their social media. If you want to check them out, just look up Amazing Comic Con on Instagram. You'll find them. And a lot of fun. I love the covers. I love the Jeff the Shark. It's big in my house. The kid's a fan of him. I also just thought that this character, the way they tied it into Rivals and everything, was done really, really well. Have you had a lot of asks for Jeff the Shark at this point?
At Toy Shack, yeah. Toy Shack for sure. Definitely with a lot of the gamers, they're always asking for him as a popular character. So yeah, he's been super hot. I think we're going to jump all over this.
Yeah, Rivals is definitely taking off. So done very well. Now, Jeff's origin, most people don't realize that his origin actually comes from the West Coast Avengers, and that's our next book up, right?
Yes, sir. So West Coast Avengers #8, another first appearance. This one is Omega Ultron. So the competition between the Ultrons kicks into high gear as the West Coast Avengers finally take on the Church of Ultron. As they battle Ultron's loyal followers, another threat looms. What's Flag Smasher been up to in prison? There is a villain called Flag Smasher. What is that?
Flag Smasher. I mean, it sounds like a guy that goes around and just for giggles, just decides to smash flags. I'm not really sure. Like, what does his evil power do? This is a Paul Vato question because Paul, this is the type of character that I feel like you would be able to describe who he is, and he'll probably be spot on.
He goes to like protests everywhere, probably. Who knows?
What do you think, Paul? Paul's connection is working just as expected.
100%.
His Metro PCS is.
Wait.
He gave him Metro PC.
Yeah, I need better internet.
Paul immediately is now looking for a provider to pitch.
This is a trip because it says the Flag Smasher name has been used by different anti-nationalist supervillains appearing in American comic books published by Marvel. The original version was most often a foe of Captain America. How does that tie in to this book? Because it seems like a very dated reference when you're talking about Captain America, because they were doing the, anti-Cold War stuff with Captain America and things like that. So Flag Smasher makes a lot of sense, but how does that tie into West Coast Avengers?
I guess the storyline's probably having a little protagonism from an international villain.
Who knows?
I'm not really sure. Like, maybe?
I haven't
maybe
never
not.
seen this guy before. It looks like Space Ghost, but with like a spawn
From coast to coast. Sorry.
and he's got a shield. He's got like a Captain America shield. So it's Space Ghost with a Captain America shield and a big black flowing cape like Spawn. I have never seen this character before in my entire life.
Well, we're going to find out this week with West Coast Avengers where his story arc's going to take him. And who knows? He could be a one and done. He could be an ongoing. Sounds like with Marvel's decorated history, you'll probably see this character again along in some level. Or
And he's got it's got the Frenchest name you could think of. It's Guy Theroux.
It's interesting. We'll see where they end up taking this. West Coast Avengers again was that origin of Jeff the Shark. So he was in that, I think, second release of West Coast Avengers books. I think his first appearance was in there, and that's where you'll find him at. I spent some time at the Las Vegas Card Show this weekend. It was at the Ahern Convention Center, and that brings us to where the next card event that will be there is PokeCon Las Vegas. PokeCon on the 20th and 21st of September. You can get your tickets at pokecon.com. The first couple of voice actors have been announced, and then here in the next week to 10 days, you're going to start having a rollout of guests. Johnny will be there as a guest. I myself will be there as well. But we also have a bunch of other people. I think Chum Lee is not only going to be there, but Chum's actually going to be buying and selling at the event, and we'll have all table there as well.
That'd be incredible.
So that'll be one of the announcements. So if you've watched the podcast before that official announcement is out, I do believe Chum's is going to be there. And then we'll have a lot of programming too. We're going to have a lot of fun games,
and not only that,
stuff like that.
Yeah, and Chum loves to play the game though. He's a true fan of Pokemon, so that's huge.
Yeah, and he may very well play in the tournaments that are hosted by Trading Card Garage. Also, we want to thank our sponsors for the show of Game Day Sports Cards, Platinum Protectors, of course, Trading Card Garage. Us at One of Us Comics, we're also contributing into a bunch of things with the show as well. In fact, we've been giving them a chance to win tickets because I've been out hiding cards all over the valley with people having an opportunity to find them for a pair of tickets to the show. So you might want to watch that Instagram for PokeCon. You never know when that's going to pop up for your chance to win another pair of tickets. So we have that coming up. What do you guys have going on this week? I know that Aaron, the producer, has a charity event coming up. What is that charity event? It's called Breast Fest, and I believe the way it works is that they auction off like bras and brassieres at this, and they raise all this money. I think it's for breast cancer awareness, and that's coming up this week. Is it at is that the saloon, the Pioneer Saloon? Yeah, so Pioneer Saloon. So you guys could check that out. Paul is apparently researching on his array there. As soon as we mentioned it, Paul immediately left and is like, if I leave now, I can be in tonight by... That's dynamite for him and great timing.
His lawn chairs are ready. Posted.
Great time for him. Guys, I did receive a text today, and it is from Frank, and he says, even Al Bundy, shoe salesman, high school football legend, and reluctant family man, had his moments of quiet between the chaos of kids, Peg's demand, and a soul-sucking job. And if he could survive that house and still find time to reminisce about his glory days, then so can you. Take a breath. A quick recharge isn't weakness, it's fuel. Refocus, reset. You've got an empire to build, and unlike Al's kids, yours won't eat all the snacks and ruin your couch while you're at it. Now get up, shake off the noise, and keep building. The world doesn't need another Bundy, but it does need what you're creating.
Who the F is Frank? What the hell, man?
Oh, where the fuck is Frank? Are you still wondering?
Comes in just in time for his cue, and then Johnny takes it. I love it.
Bastard.